Okay, so it's official. I'm going to turn it over to Kelly and we might as well get started.
Great. Hello, everyone. My name is Kelly Stutz, one of the SOE Hub advisors. We're so happy you're able to join us. I know there's a lot going on in the chat, and I hope we can answer some questions with our presentation. So let's launch into your first year, all of your course selection questions, how to register, transfer credit process. We hope we can answer those questions for you today. So here is our SOE Hub team. You've probably already met with some of us if you joined our drop-in sessions. So Karen and I are going to do the presentation, and then you might see Kim and Bulos linger in too. We're all housed in the hub, which is on another slide. I'll show you where we are. But today we're going to just get started. Here's kind of our overview. We're going to do an introduction. We have our major templates. We'll show you how to register for courses. A little bit about the transfer course process. I'm going to plug our previous presentation that we did earlier this week on transfer credit. And then we'll go over some important dates. So what is the SOE Hub? So we are experienced advisors for your first 2 semesters. We're here to guide you and help you register for your first semester and prepare you for, your second year and beyond. So how to talk to faculty advisors and prepare you for that relationship. So we are staffed by experienced advisors who offer academic support for all engineering majors for the first 2 semesters. Hub advisors assist students to determine their unique academic path through Rensselaer while fulfilling all their degree requirements. We want to get you to graduation. That is the goal. So where is the SOE Hub? So we are on the 3rd floor of the JEC, or the Johnson Engineering Center. And sometimes you'll probably walk through a bridge at some point while you're commuting from class to class. And then one will go right into the JEC, and you'll continue down that long hallway. You'll pass the dean's office, and you'll go through something called the Ansel Lounge. We are through that lounge and into the hub. So we will have, virtual appointments or in-person appointments coming this fall and help answer any questions that you may have. So here's a general outline of the SOE Hub majors, or the School of Engineering majors. Something to keep in mind is that the pre-med, B-med is a concentration. So if you're interested in that, let us know. And the undeclared engineering is something that we work closely with you all. So if you're still considering what engineering degree you're thinking, undeclared is the major for you to start. And then we'll kind of create your own plan for your first and second year based on your interests. So that's really where we come into play to make sure that you're on the right path. So to determine all of those classes, we're going to go through all those major templates and see what fits best for you and what you're looking for and what you want to do at the end of RPI. So here's a quick outline of those PDFs and the Excel templates. So we're using mechanical as an example here. So on the left-hand side, you'll see the PDF template. We reference this very often, daily. So hopefully you've gotten familiar with this from our website and the Welcome to Class of 27 button. And then on the right-hand side is the Excel template. So this is where you will create your unique path. You can type in your courses, what you've taken, what you plan on taking, and especially navigating your Haas electives and your free electives. This is where, we will use this in our student advising meeting in the spring, which is a required meeting. All of these things we'll be talking about throughout your first year. So really what we're focusing on today is how to register for your first semester. And this is where I'll pass it on to Karen, and she will show you where to find all of these resources.
Thanks, Kelly. So at this point, I'm going to share my screen with you and we will talk about how to find those resources as Kelly mentioned. So I started out by Googling the SOE Hub website just because I think it's super convenient just to find all of those resources. You're also going to notice when I Googled that it also features the previous webinars that we had. So If you wanted to check out a different one to see if there were any questions that maybe weren't asked in this one, you can always refer to other ones as well. But here, right at the top, is our Welcome to the SOE Hub, First Year Advising Hub. We click on that, and that is really, this is your landing point. This is where you're going to go for every resource that you need while building schedules and everything that you could use during this summer to prepare to come to campus. We have all the buttons, which I'll go over quickly, but here is our advising webinar schedule. You're right here. The recording of this will also be posted on this page for your reference. And these are also our drop-in sessions that are remaining before registration. Drop-in sessions are really important so you can meet one-on-one with an advisor. We've been doing that all day today and it's been quite busy, so we're happy that you guys are getting involved. There's no limit to the number of drop-in sessions that you can attend. So if you did have unanswered questions or you haven't sought this resource out yet, please do so because we're all going to be assisting you in your registration process on Tuesday. So a week from today, you're going to be registering for your classes. So it's really important if you do have questions to connect with us sooner than later. And you can see we have our team stuff here as well. But what we're going to focus on right now is this button here, and this is going to be where you find your schedule building resources. FYE and all of the living and learning stuff is up here. But what I want to really specifically talk about is right here. So as Kelly mentioned before, the Excel spreadsheet, the clicked button, you download that information here. It looks a little wonky here. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to show it to you after it's downloaded to kind of understand what it looks like. All the majors are listed along the bottom and they are populated the courses that are on the template, which is also available for download on our home page, which I'm going to show you in just a minute. But again, you're going to use this resource. The thing about the Excel sheet is nice is because it's editable, if that's a word. So you can adjust, you could put your AP, dual enrollment credits up top, and you can move things around. This is a document that you're going to be taking with you for the entire 4 years you're here, so it's important to have this. And if you're settled on your major, you can delete the other tabs if you choose to do so. Now, going back to our website, bear with me. Whoops, I went too far. Going back to our website, here are the major templates. They're all listed by acronym of your major. If you have a concern about which major is yours, you can always reach out to us in the chat because some of these are difficult to decipher. But once you download these, it'll look like this. Bring one up right now for you to view. And ultimately, it's not working for me, but I'll try and get it up there. If it doesn't work, we'll figure it out. But so you're going to download those templates and you're going to use that as a resource as well if you choose. The Excel sheet is perfectly fine as well, but either way, these are where you're going to find it. Now, another resource that we also use during our course planning is Quacks. So when you click on the Quacks icon here, this is going to be a platform that you could use to schedule. Now, I have a schedule loaded in here just for reference, so this is something that you're going to do. So when you input all the courses off of your template into Quacks, you will notice that at the bottom, all of these numbers populate. These are your course registration numbers. So remember that phrase because whenever you are asking about any specific course and we say, what's the CRN of the class? That is the number that we're referring to. And if you look at the Quacks boxes specifically, not only do the numbers appear here, but they also appear with the specific course. So for example, chemistry has 60432 as their CRN. So those are really helpful things for you to remember when you're doing your course planning. Okay, so going back to our presentation, I'm going to bring that up and I am going to present to you. We have this major template as we discussed, so both of these are things that we're going to want to pay attention to while we're doing our course planning. And in addition to that, as I referenced, we have that Quacks function. Definitely hop in and take a look at that if you haven't already, because it's a little it's not quite as intuitive as I would like it to be. And if you do need assistance, we could help you during one of your drop-in sessions to navigate this more specifically on how to pick out courses and how to eliminate courses. Because if you look here, if you toggle all of it, it gives you a lot of options. So as you're arrowing through, you're going to say 21,000 choices. How do I minimize that? If you have questions about how to do that, you can always reach out to us and we'll go through it with you. So now the actual registration process. First of all, if you haven't already, please check your time ticket in SIS. They were sent out on the 11th, so you've had it in your SIS student menu for over a week. Everybody is going to register on July 25th, but the time of everybody's registration is unique. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make sure that you go to check registration status, which is right here. You're going to select the fall of 2023 semester, and it's going to say what specific time you're registering for. And some of them might be 8 a.m., some of them might be 9:45, some of them might be 10. That is your personal window. So make sure you set your alarm clock if it's early. It's Eastern Standard Time, so my West Coast friends, please factor that into account. I'm sorry if you're waking up super early to register. Hopefully you can go back to bed after the process. So make sure that you do that. We want to make sure that you're ready to go right when your time ticket opens. The other thing that you can actually do right now, if you haven't already, is clearing your financial responsibility agreement. So right on the SIS menu, you can click on this icon here. Again, select fall of 2023. It brings up this screen that gives you a lot of language that basically says you agree that you're registering for your classes and that you're going to pay your tuition bill. You have to do it every semester. You click the box that you agree, you hit submit, you're good to go. If you do not do this step, you will not be able to register. It will tell you that you have a hold on your account. So this is a really important step that you could resolve right now if you haven't already. Okay, so now we have a couple of different situations that do come up during registration that I think is important to review. If you are in the class search option of SIS, this is a function that you can use to make your schedule. However, Quacks we usually use to build your schedule. SIS class search is a really good function to check real-time seat status. So Quacks is a helpful tool, but there's a lag. So what that means is that Quacks might say there's seats available, but because registration happens so quickly during the registration window, often things will fill up and Quacks takes a little bit of time to catch up with that process. If you go into SIS and basically select the fall of 2023 term, just like that, you're going to see this menu here. When you click it, you can pick, say, for example, you're looking at your chemistry course. Just click chemistry and then go down to search section. You can leave all of this blank. That's kind of extra stuff if you really are looking for something specific. But it'll bring up your chemistry section. In this instance, we use the Haas inquiry example. Now over here, once you're in that section, you're going to see capacity for cap, actual, and remaining. So if you look, the capacity is 38, actual is 0, so that means that there's still 38 seats remaining. Actual means how many people are actually registered for the course. So this means that there's plenty of seats available and you'd be able to register for this class. And then additionally, we throw a lot of terminology around as advisors with Haas inquiry and communication intensive. If you're ever looking to find out if a course is Haas inquiry or designated as communication intensive, you can find that out on SIS and it's on Quacks as well. But the details on SIS is in this final attribute column here. One other thing that comes up, and this is something that we're throwing at you for an FYI more than anything, some courses, namely Haas courses, are restricted to majors. So in the event that you are looking at a course and you want to check to make sure that you can register for it, this is planning ahead of time. Um, you can go back into that class search option on SIS and you're going to see the CRNs listed. It's a hyperlink. If you click that hyperlink, it's going to bring you to this screen over here. You're going to have to also click again on the actual title of the course, but then it brings up this third screen and it'll tell you if there's any restrictions. So in this situation, it just says that you need to be a freshman to register for this course. So that means as a freshman, guess what? You can register for that course. But if the restriction says you need to be a psychology major or a GSAS major, that is something that's going to give you a little bit more of a pushback. That means that you're not going to be able to register for that particular section. If there's multiple sections of that course listed, check every section because sometimes courses have specific sections that are restricted to majors and then specific sections that are open to the general population of students. So that is something that if you do have concerns, one class in particular happens to be Minds and Machines. It's a popular Haas inquiry course. If you're looking through one of the sections, I believe it's the last one, you can confirm if I'm right or wrong, but one of the sections is restricted. So if you choose to go into the class search option, you can see that namely right there. So it's important to know that ahead of time because there's nothing worse than getting a message that you're locked out of the course because you're not in the right major. Okay, so when your registration time ticket opens, it might be a little bit hard to visualize here just because it's a little light, but you're going to go into SIS and you're going to go into your register ad drop menu. You're going to select fall of 23 like you have and you will throughout this semester. And it's going to bring you to a page that has boxes all over the bottom of the screen. You're going to add your CRNs into each box. I suggest doing all of your courses at once. So you're going to put your chemistry class, for example, CRN here, your calculus section here, your Haas inquiry here. There's 7 boxes across the bottom. There's plenty of room to add all of them at once. And then you're going to hit submit changes. And then you're going to get a bunch of messages pertaining to each class. If it says registered via web, you're good to go. And you don't need to do anything else with that particular class. If you get a course message that says something other than registered via web, that means that course was not successfully registered. Right here it says a time conflict. This is an example of one of the messages you might receive. And that means that you tried to register for 2 courses that are overlapping in their time sequencing. So the system will not let you register for conflicting courses. So that's a comfort on our end because at least we know that you can't schedule courses at the same time. But that's a message that means that you're going to have to seek out another section. You don't have to drop all of your courses just because you didn't get into one class. You can plug in other options. And like I said, this is the perfect example because it won't let you conflict courses. So it will give a message if it doesn't work. So a lot of times students will plug in different numbers to see what fits and then double check the schedule to make sure it's what they're looking for. So we have another piece of the advising process that a lot of students have connected with us about, and that's transferring AP, IB, Cambridge dual enrollment credits. This is the process. I'm only going to go into this briefly just for the simple fact that we did host a webinar on this last week and we have the recording posted on our website. So if you do have questions and you weren't able to attend that webinar, I would say 90% of the questions that you might have were addressed in that. And if you have additional, very personal, specific questions, you can always drop those in a drop-in session with us. We did have Mary from the registrar's office with us to discuss the process because she is the person who handles all of the AP transfer, everything credits. So overall, you need a 5 in math, science, or engineering courses to transfer any APs. If you have a humanities, arts, and social science credit, which is your Haas, those are like history, government, all that kind of stuff. Those actually we accept 4 or 5s in those categories. You're going to want to request your scores and then have them sent to RPI. And that's the same with all of these. The only thing is their test requirements are a little bit different. IB is a 6 or 7, Cambridge is an A or a B grade. Dual enrollment, there's a little bit more of an involvement just because you have to have additional forms signed and you need to have your transcript sent to RPI directly. It has to be an official transcript. It can't be sent by you. If it's electronic, it needs to come from the institute or a third party. And the same thing applies for your summer transfer credits as well. Some students might be taking summer courses right now. You guys are ambitious. I have to give you credit. And if you're doing that, again, make sure that you send your transcript to RPI officially. You need a C minus or better, and that applies to both dual enrollment in order to get those credits. And we also suggest that you send your course description of any courses along with it, because if the course is not approved, you will not get credit for that. And the other thing that we want to bring up is that there is a deadline for those courses to be transferred in. And yes, it's in May, but it creeps up before you know it. And we encourage you to actually do all of this right now, because if you don't have the credit that you need, you will not be able to register for the subsequent course without an override. And that's a little bit more work on your end, because hypothetically, if you had credit for Calc 1, for example, and you never transferred the scores or transferred your transcript in and the credit's not there, you won't be able to register for Calc 2 without reaching out to one of us for an override. So make your process easy and try to do that ahead of time. Now, I know we're approaching registration, it's a week away. So in the event that your credits aren't in, you are going to want to message one of us when your registration ticket is coming up with the section, the name, the CRN of the course, why you want to have it transferred, namely, I have AP credit but it hasn't arrived yet, or I have dual enrollment credit that hasn't arrived yet. And we will request an override on your behalf. So that's the process for that. But again, it makes it much easier if you could just register it for yourselves. So the deadline's in May, but we say now. And these are another few important dates that are coming up. Right now, we're still in consultation period. Tuesday, July 25th is when everybody starts registering, and we're going to register right up until August 1st. Now, that's fine. And, some people do have trips planned, and all of that's really important to remember. Registration will reopen on August 8th. And the only reason I say that is because sometimes you might not get your ideal schedule in the first round of registration. I don't want you to be discouraged. Granted, we might not be able to give you truly your ideal schedule. Maybe you don't want any 8 a.m.s. Sometimes that's inevitable. However, we will guarantee you a schedule that is conducive for your major before your first day of classes. So if you're on vacation, you miss the registration window, whatever happens, we have a second round of registration where we can make edits to your existing schedule or create new ones starting August 8th again. Now, the first day of classes is August 28th. That's when you're going to begin and you're going to start talking to us about how everything's going. And we have that 2-week window up until September 11th, where again, we could still make adjustments to that schedule. So if you're in a class that you don't think is a good fit for you, reach out to us, because we could possibly add a different course and drop the existing one. There's things that we can do, but if you don't reach out to us, we don't know that there's a problem. So that responsibility is yours. You have that 2-week window to reach out if there's any concerns. And then we also have a drop deadline, which is different than the add deadline. So if you're in a course that is really not working out, first couple exams didn't go well, whatever the circumstances might be, again, we advise you to reach out to us, because there is a possibility to drop a course. We don't advise you to do it willy-nilly without consulting anyone, because certain courses obviously can delay progress in your curriculum. So having a conversation with your advisor is really helpful for that. But In all honesty, we do have students that drop during the first semester, especially because of the transition from high school to college being so rigorous. So it is an option for you. It's something to keep in mind. So definitely bookmark the 20th on your calendar and keep open communication with your advisor. Okay, so we're at the end of our presentation. Again, utilize our hub website. We have that YouTube channel which posts all of our recordings, so we highly encourage you to step in and check those out and reach out to us via WebEx chat, SOE Hub email, or you could direct message us if needed. We're here to support you. So now I think we should address any questions that come up. I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now. Okay. Kelly, I'll read the questions if that's good for you. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. Let's see what we have. The first question is, will Quacks and SIS take into account all testing and lab blocks of a course, so it will be unable to register for courses with conflicts?
Yes. So Quacks lists those test blocks on there, and then SIS will also take into account those test blocks. So when you view in SIS after you've registered, you'll click View Schedule Grid, and it'll show you your weekly schedule. That will put into account all the test blocks that you will report to on the day that you have a test.
Are there standard classes freshmen need to take?
That depends on your major. I recommend looking at your major template. You'll notice a theme with a lot of the engineering majors. Some have particular courses that you need to take, your first or second semester. However, for the most part, you're all focusing on similar concepts. It's calculus, it's physics, it's chemistry. So if it's something beyond that that you have questions about, let us know and definitely join our virtual drop-in hours.
Were all time tickets sent out?
Yes.
Yes.
So if you look in SIS, click Student Menu and then go to Check Registration Status. That's where you'll see your registration ticket for the fall 23 term.
I have a question.
What's up, Kim?
So I got this question in the last webinar, so I want to ask it again. Are there, or what are some mistakes first year students make when registering?
Go ahead, Karen.
It's a good question, so it is worth picking up here. I think the biggest mistake that we've encountered is that students repeatedly try to get into a closed section. Um, I'm hearing that there's certain algorithms or apps or whatever that students do to make it kind of crazy and they just rapid succession register, register, register. If you do that too many times, you will be locked out of SIS. And that means that you will no longer have the option to register. We will have to do the registration for you. And it becomes a nightmare because you will not be able to access anything in SIS until the system regenerates a semester later. So don't make the mistake of trying rapid fire. I think like 200 times will lock you out. Um, so that was one big mistake that students make. Another one is not having a full schedule prepared ahead of time and not being familiar with the resources. If you kind of go at it willy-nilly, it might not work out to your favor. So you have a week, take the time, make sure that you feel comfortable with everything that you're doing moving forward. Um, okay, I think we had some more questions in the chat.
Mhm.
Under the financial responsibility tab, the website says you've met your financial responsibility agreement for fall 2023. Does that mean I'm good, or do I have to do it again when registration reopens?
You're good. So that's already met. You've removed that hold from your account, and you'll be ready to register when your time ticket opens.
Okay, here's another question. Are parents involved in this process?
They can be if you want, but generally you are now a college student, so we contact you directly. We no longer contact your parents. So it's up to you to really know your course registration numbers and know the registration process.
And one more thing I want to add to that, we no longer contact your personal email. So if you're not checking your RPI email, I'm assuming you guys are because you're here, but spread the word with any friends that you're communicating on any kind of chats. We cannot contact personal email. It's a FERPA violation for us. So technically, RPI email in communication with us, and we communicate via RPI email. So that's another thing really important to remember. Okay, we have another one here. Would it be a good idea to take two Haas courses and drop the one you don't prefer?
I'm assuming you mean register for two Haas courses and drop the one you don't prefer. That is one tactic. We don't recommend it. Ideally, try to stay in the one that you want to take in the fall, so everybody has an opportunity to register for a Haas inquiry course in particular. But it is possible as long as it doesn't conflict with your schedule too much.
And the other thing too, as we mentioned, we have that 2 week window where if you are in a course that you don't feel is a good fit for you, you do have the option to drop that and replace it with another one. So that could be another tactic that you use in the event that you did register for a Haas course that you didn't like. Because on the first day of classes, you should receive the syllabus, so you should have a general sense of what the course is about right from the beginning. Okay, so we have another one here. Can you minor in one school and major in another?
Yes, with a lot of ifs. For the most part, yes, minors can fulfill your free electives for most majors. Depends on what your major is. However, you'll see those free elective blocks towards your junior and senior year. That's where you can utilize your minor courses. For example, management is a popular minor. Those can fill in your free electives, with warning that you may have to take an additional course to meet that requirement on top of your major requirements. The best minors that we recommend are through the Haas department because you're already taking the Haas inquiry and Haas core requirements. You can get a minor within those requirements. So it's already attached within your curriculum. So those are something that we would guide you towards. Management is a little tricky. It was a rough example probably because management is not Haas. So make sure you have that, clear guideline because Haas is its own category and management is its own school.
I agree with that. And the other thing too, depending on your major, there's certain courses, like say for example, you want a minor in the School of Science. Some of the courses that are within your major might actually be able to be applied towards that minor. So depending on what your major is and what your goals are, having that conversation with your advisor, who you will find out, FYI, you will find out your advisor specifically in August along with their contact information so you can connect with them for those one-on-one meetings. Right now, we always team advise during summer just to make sure that we can rapidly address any questions that you have. But starting as we get closer to the start of the semester, you will have that information. So that would be a great conversation to have with your advisor where we could look at the credits you bring in. There's a lot of moving pieces when it comes to course planning, and we want to make sure that we support you the best we can by knowing all of the details. Okay. Let's see what else. What is the process for receiving high school credit from classes taken in the IB program?
I got it.
Okay.
So we highly recommend watching our transfer process webinar that we did last week. This goes through in detail the transfer credit process. For IB specifically, you will be using the IB website and requesting those transcripts to be sent directly to RPI. You might have to have like a course description sometimes, but the registrar can guide you through that, and you'll need yeah, the official transcript. Is there anything I'm missing, Karen?
No, and the other thing too is we do have a survey that we have dealing with credit. So if you did fill out that survey, that'll allow your advisor knowing, like to know what specific courses you're potentially transferring in, just so we can anticipate that. Because at this point in time, you're likely not going to have those scores set up prior to your registration window. So if those are impacting your first registration here, we're going to want you to connect with us to definitely let us know what those credits look like. Okay. Uh, do you get your advisor before registration? No. We team advise. So basically, you can definitely put your questions in the chat as you're registering for your classes, or you can direct message us. We're all on deck during registration to assist students, and we basically go through everything as fast as we can to help as many students as we can, because we know it's a stressful time and you're kind of moving quickly to make sure that you secure your courses. All of the advisors in the hub are proficient in all majors, so I don't want you to feel that you're not supported. You definitely are. We are all here, all hands on deck to help. Are there descriptions for all the classes that are options for each major? Uh, let's see. There are course descriptions. The course catalog is a great resource for that, to tell you specifically what the classes are about. Um, the website is catalog.rpi.edu. So you can look up the courses in the catalog for a description. Um, We recommend finding your major specific template and registering for the courses that are featured in the first box on the upper left-hand side. Unless you have credit that might eliminate some of those courses, then you would move to the subsequent classes. And if you're not sure what that looks like, say for example, you have chem credit and you don't know where to go from there, you could reach out in one of our drop-in sessions for clarification. We recommend every student take a Haas inquiry course, regardless of the number of humanities, arts, and social science credits you bring in, because it's a graduation requirement that you need to complete a Haas inquiry course before the end of your freshman year. So that is something that, regardless of credit, you're going to do. Obviously, if you have credit for Calc 1, you would move to Calc 2. So those are generally what we would advise, but if you have something that goes beyond that, that would be a great opportunity for you to attend a drop-in session. The course catalog, the question is the course catalog online? Yes, it is. Catalog.rpi.edu. Okay, I got another one for you. Is there a way for us to access the Canvas slides for steps, or should we use the recording of the webinar? I think the best thing to do is to view the webinar again. We can offer a little bit of support. Maybe we'll give you a step-by-step, but generally the webinar is an overview. You can pause. It's kind of convenient to just access the recording. Any other questions? I'll give you another minute just in case you're still thinking.
These are all good questions. A lot of these conversations we had today during our drop-in sessions too. So we're going to keep plugging those advising drop-in sessions as much as we can. There's a lot of information here. So if you have like more specific questions, those are definitely where we can answer those for your individual situations.
Okay. Well, it doesn't look like anybody else has any additional questions. So again, we want to thank you for joining us. We hope that you found this information useful. And as Kelly mentioned, utilize the drop-in sessions. That's what we're here for. And we're kind of twiddling our thumbs if you're not coming to join us. So give us the opportunity to connect, because we like to welcome all of you and get to know you on a one-on-one basis. And if you have questions in the meantime, the chat is definitely something that is also useful, because if you have a question, there's a good chance somebody else has that same one. Oh, we got more. Okay. Where are the drop-in sessions located? As we discussed earlier, the drop-in schedule is located on our website. We have also the sign up link right in the website. We contact you via WebEx. Make sure you're signed in with your RPI account in WebEx, because otherwise you won't get our message, with a link for you to meet with us. You have 10 minutes to join. Otherwise we move to the next person on the list, because the list gets quite long. So the order of us meeting with students is prioritized in the order in which you sign up. So if you want to get on that list, get on it ASAP, and we will make sure that we do that with you. If you can't make a drop-in session, what should we do? Well, I think the best thing to do for that is I would probably compile any questions that you have, and you can email us directly, soehub@rpi.edu, and we can address your questions via email if you don't feel comfortable putting those questions because they're personal in the chat. Okay. You get on the list for the drop-in sessions. When the drop-in session opens, the form in which you can sign up will also open. So if you're trying to sign up for a drop-in session right now, we're not currently holding drop-in sessions, the form is closed. So our next drop-in session, I believe, is tomorrow evening, if I'm not mistaken. So that would be the time when the form would open. You can sign up, and then we would contact you via WebEx to join our individual meeting rooms. Any other questions?
Looks like we're good.
Okay. Well, thank you again, and we're here to support you, so please don't hesitate to reach out.
Have a nice day, everyone.
Thank you.